As I recall, I met John as he was looking for a venue to install a work during the G7 meeting that was happening at the time. And we hosted that installation. Of course, I've known Melanie but through her family for years, having grown up in the 60s and with the Wheeler Avenue Church and Bill Lawson, Audrey Lawson. But Melanie and I became acquainted as young professionals, older myself, as she finished law school and came back to Houston to launch her career with ABC. I think it's a wonderful accolade to the both of them for the work and their generosity in the community. They can't receive enough kudos. We recognized them at the Community Artists Collective last year as Patrons of the Year. I think that there will be a whole string of other recognitions of their generosity in the near future. I would describe the impact of Melanie and John in the arts community as rippling. It's going to have immediate as well as far-reaching ramifications. I think that what makes the two of them unique in their patronage of the arts is that they're African American, they're genuine, they're highly educated, invested, and deeply committed. John and Melanie are wonderful hosts. They give great parties, they love people, and love to share their collection in their environment. I love spending time with them. I am so thrilled with their commitment. Without the kind of focus that, especially John, with Melanie's support, provides as an advocate for African American or Black assets, cultural assets. I mean, that is an incredible strength and a wonderful attribute. We're lucky to have such a voice in the community.
My proudest moment is probably seeing the work that has been done in communities by the Houston Museum of African American Culture. I mean, you know, everybody else talks to the community, represents the community, but we are solidly in the community. We're known as a museum in a building and in the community, and that means that we have a presence in all of these low-income areas, something that I'm very proud of.
I was able to get involved with HMAC some 10 years ago, and I was fascinated by the idea of an African American museum here in the city of Houston. I knew of many incredibly talented local artists who were really looking for a home, a place to be. And just the idea of a museum that not only showed art, but actually got into issues that were important to my community. And so I've been involved either individually or through John for at least a decade or more.
If you go outside in our lobby here, you'll see a portrait of Lee Brown. That was done by Eddie Fowler. I was called by the board and by the former director of the Museum of Fine Arts, Peter Marzio, to come and make this thing tangible, to get a building, bring it over here and animate it. And that's what I've done. We became, 3 years ago, the most visited African American cultural asset in this city. And we became in 5 years, we became one of the fastest growing museums in the country.
Well, I think that HMAC's impact has been really outstanding, starting here in the city of Houston, because we never really had a place that brought not only art, as we've been discussing, but really a sense of culture, a sense of the wider issues that affect the African American community. It has certainly had great impact nationally because we've had interactions with so many other museums, so many other galleries and things. So we've been able, thanks to John, to bring many of those national voices, important voices, here to Houston and to HMAC, and to share some of the issues that we really needed to know about.
The most profound realization I've had for supporting the arts and artists is how much impact we can have when we're in low-income communities. When you see, one of the things we're proudest of at our store here is the fact that we have more people coming here of color, and they buy, and we have artists here who've done prints, and we price those prints from $25 up to, and then up to $1,500, and we have to get Sezzle pay. But we started putting, not Walmart, we have people, these folks come in here and they have art done by African Americans in their homes. I'm prouder of that than anything else. And it's made me very determined about being able to continue that.
I think that art is so universal that a lot of times we try to box it up and to say, oh, I don't know much about museums, or I don't know much about galleries. But really, art is one of those things that speaks to all of us in its own way. And I may walk into a museum and see a piece and think, oh, that's interesting. And the next person comes along and a light goes on. So I think if there's anything that is profound about art, it's that it can be so both personal and universal.
Well, I would tell people, and I always tell people in collecting, if you want to support the arts, listen, go to student shows. Jesus Christ, go to the Art League shows. I go to them, and there's some really good art. I mean, go there. You're not only supporting those institutions, you're supporting the artists. That's a really kind of simple thing to do. And people want to say that they want to get something that is a master that costs so much money. Well, those masters, John Biggers used to sell his work for $25. People then got that work. We have work that we bought that we really, had to go back and forth with, and now that work is worth a lot of money. It wasn't that when we bought it. We bought it because we liked it. If you like art, go to those student shows. It supports those institutions. And don't buy the work that I'm trying to get.
For me, African American art really resonates. I think it tells a story that I'm familiar with sometimes and not familiar with sometimes, but it really allows expression about a community that I know and love, and I'm able to share that with other people as well.
I think that what resonates with me most is the art that impacts communities. It's the art that people see and that is held in their homes. That's the art that resonates most for me.
I want to see more collaboration. I want to see more reaching out into the community and bringing people in. I think that the mistake that many of our arts organizations make is that they expect people to come to them. And sometimes I'd like to see the mountain go to Muhammad and actually go out into the neighborhoods and introduce people. I'm incredibly proud of John and the work that he's done at the Houston Museum of African American Culture against all odds, having to go out and reinvent the wheel a lot of times. But I think it's such an important asset for this city and specifically for our community. And I'd like to see a long, healthy life for both the museum, HMAC, and for John, as a matter of fact.